What up, what up, what up, peeps? It's your girl, Natalie, the Keto Bikini Pro, back with another Monday Masterclass. This is a weird one, y'all, because this is the first time in a while, maybe ever, that there is nobody hanging out in the chat before I even went live. Where are y'all at this week? What's going on? We'll just hang out and see if anybody can hop on live. Usually there's a whole chat going by now. And my light is not working today. Come on, July 1st. Throwing me for a loop here. Let's see if that works. Okay, it's a little bit better. Cool. Hey, Stephanie's on with me. I'm not alone. What up, Steph? I am glad somebody popped in the chat. Awesome. It is a holiday week, which I was not thinking about. I know our girl Karen, who's always on, is at the beach right now with her fam bam. So Karen's usually one of the first on. Becky's with us. Woohoo! Awesome. All right, y'all. Make me feel better. I'm not alone. I would have happily talked to a camera by myself, but awesome. Upstate keto girl. Okay, here we go. They're trickling in. Let me pull this out so I can see the Facebook group comments. Awesome. All right. Okay, so tonight is, oh, my mom's here. She's so cute. I'm here, no worries. Woohoo! Thanks, Mom. Love you. We get to spend the holiday week together somehow. All these miles apart. Well, happy July, y'all. Happy July, fam. Happy Monday, new day, new week, new month. And we are exactly at the halfway mark of 2024. So, Sabetta's on. Woo woo, representing North Carolina. So, we are exactly halfway through the year, y'all. 2024 is halfway over. This is the halftime point. Usually, it's funny, this challenge that we just started today, which we're going to be talking about tonight, usually I am doing the pre-challenge marketing, posting about it around this time, and usually we're starting a little bit later in July. For years, I've wanted to start earlier, so yay, I'm glad that we're starting earlier. But this time of year is a time that's always been very special for me. I don't remember what year it was. On 4th of July is when I sat down. The year was halfway done, and I wrote out for the first time my 10-year vision, my 10-year goals, chunked them down into 5-year goals, into 1-year goals, and got crystal clear on where I wanted my life to go. And when I did that year, at least, oh my gosh, how many years ago? At least 6 or 7 years ago now, maybe more. My life looked completely different then. I was in a job I wanted to leave, a career I wanted to leave. I was not a professional in my sport yet, not even close at the time. I think that was when I was making my 1-year goal to become a pro. So it might have been 2018, which would have been about a year and a half before I got my pro card. But I got crystal clear on where I wanted to go, what my goals were, what I wanted to achieve in my life, what I wanted my life to look like. For those of you who are in the challenge with us, we're going to be doing some of this. We're going to be talking about creating a vision statement for your time in the challenge. So it was 4th of July, and I remember thinking the year is halfway over. Let me, as I made that plan, and then I chunked it down, it came down into this, quarterly and semi-annual goals. And so every 6 months from then on, I pulled it back out. I pulled out the vision, the long-term vision, and assessed it. Is that still where I want to go long term? Or has anything changed that vision? Is it time to maybe tweak it a little bit? And then I would make my goals for the next 6 months and then chunk those down into the quarterly and what are the action steps I need to take weekly to get there and things of that nature. Completely changed my life since then. And every 6 months, at least every 6 months, I took a look back at that. And so it would always be end of December or New Year's. So it would be like right around New Year's and then right around 4th of July, where I would revisit my long-term vision and my goals and action steps to get there. So all that to say, this is a great time of year to think about your 6-month and your 1-year goals or your long-term vision, and then how that aligns with your 6-month or your 1-year goals. And then what are you going to do in the next few weeks? What are you going to do in the next quarter to move toward those goals? And that directly relates to what we're talking about tonight, which is challenges and the challenge mentality, which is what I'm going to break down tonight. So let me pull up my notes because I wrote a lot this time. Just got into a flow this morning and it all just came out on paper. So in the description and the event for tonight, I explained that I will be breaking down 3 things. 1, why people are attracted to challenges or challenge programs or things of that nature. 2, the most important, the way most people think about challenges and how they typically approach a challenge. What is this challenge mentality, which I'm going to call is the old challenge mentality. And then what you should do instead to get the most out of your next challenge, whether you're with us in our challenge officially, formally or not. You can, for any, whatever you decide your next challenge is, a challenge that you want to take on personally, how to think about it in a better way, in a new way, so that you can get more out of it. So in the Facebook group, as we usually do, we had a question that we posed to the group, and that is, when you join a challenge, how would you describe your mindset going in? What are you thinking about? What are your expectations of yourself? That might be a little foreshadowing for those of you who know me and the things I like to talk about, these expectations we set for ourselves. And then, do you usually achieve what you set out to accomplish during the challenge? Why or why not? So here's some of the things we saw in the group. And there's some really great stuff here. I love what Deb had to say, which is, it's a challenge. I know that means possible difficulties that I will have to maneuver around. Challenges are supposed to modify our behaviors or else they won't be a challenge. The key is the mindset of how I face the challenge in order to overcome, or in this case, complete it. I think this is the underpinning of what I'm going to talk about when I open up with, why are we attracted to challenges, right? What do they promise to do for us? Or what do we expect that that challenge will do for us or help us to accomplish? So that really kind of summarized that really well. You know, we have these difficulties, we're anticipating difficulties, and we are going in intentionally that I am going in to overcome these challenges. So we're preparing ourselves for that. So I love that description. Shout out to Deb. I love what Mary had to say. I have a new view this year. I'm already nursing an injury and grace is on my side. I'm learning gray shades on this one. And this, for those of you who are familiar with our Grace and Grind challenge, that is the whole theme of the Grace and Grind challenge. The concept of that one, we do it in New Year's around the time where everybody else is doing these crazy New Year's challenges, and we are moving into the new year with grace in the midst of the grind. And that is also very much what I'm going to talk about tonight, because what I will offer you is a way of thinking about challenges in kind of a different light, very much the way Mary just described it. Oh, yay! Karen made it, and Kathy's on with us live too. Woohoo! Awesome. Love to see you ladies here. All right. Let's see, Jenny, this is a beautiful share. Excited, motivated. In previous challenges, I failed at about 2 to 3 weeks in. With all the educational materials, Zoom meetings, and masterclasses, I know I will succeed with this challenge. Well, here's another little foreshadowing. I'm going to talk a lot about why we have that failure only a little bit of the way into a challenge, right? We usually have these super high expectations for ourselves, and we're going to talk about how to do it a little bit differently so that you don't see it as a failure, you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, and you don't end up quitting or failing a few weeks in. All right. Ooh, Kristen. I have not attended a challenge before. I am hoping to continue to meet my goal of training at least 4 times a week, as that is what makes me feel better. I want to allow myself room to grow emotionally and mentally through this process. You're getting it, girl. You already know what I'm going to talk about. See, the video is not giving me the hearts anymore. I have to give you hearts by myself. All right. Helen, my mindset is positive and consistent, but if I need to modify the challenge, I will do so. Thinking of last year's plank challenge. So she did a plank challenge last year. These plank challenges and squat challenges and things like that you see online where it's like you're going to add to the thing every day. Those can be really tough and not always realistic. So I love this idea of assessing and modifying if you need to. Beautiful. Oh, Becky, shout out to Becky, and Becky's here in the chat. My focus will be to enjoy this journey, remembering I'm in metabolic recovery now. Mindset will be keep the blinders on and focus on the learning, work, rest, nutrition that serves me to become the best me that I can be and able to serve others. Becky, that's so beautiful. When we work on our vision statements, you can literally copy and paste that, because that right there, that is gorgeous. Enjoying the journey in the midst of the journey, right? We're tend to be so focused on the destination. And in this challenge that we're doing this year, it's not all about shredding. It's not all about cutting. Many of our ladies are doing what Becky's doing, working on this metabolic recovery, working on building. They're going in that opposite direction that we're so used to focusing on. And it can be a bigger mental challenge than trying to take body fat off. We all kind of know that journey, right? That struggle, we've been there. But the struggle of I need to eat more, I need to be okay with eating more, I need to be okay with potentially seeing the scale go up, all of these things. So shout out to you, Becky. You are doing the work, and it is showing. It's amazing. Lisa, I love what Lisa had to say. I'm going in and taking it day by day and doing the best I can. Slow and steady wins the race. Y'all, that is one of our mottos in the Academy. Shout out to Juliana, who I know will be watching the replay. Slow is a pace. That has become one of our mantras. Slow is a pace. I would much rather all of you, whatever your goal is, fat loss, muscle gain, whatever it is, I would rather you get slower progress for an entire 6 months, year, 5 years, and maintain it and continue making that progress than make a ton of progress in an 8-week challenge and then lose it all afterwards. So we're going to talk about that sustainability piece in a moment. I love what Siv shared. And this is usually something that I see going into a challenge or a program. When we were getting ready to start the prep program, Prep for Summer, that we did from March through May, there was a lot of fear. And this is what Siv shared. She said, lately with other new training programs, I've come in nervous and feeling afraid of failure. Like, what will I be able to do at this time? And that is something that we usually see a lot of, like, oh, I'm scared. What is it going to be like? Like you're afraid you're going to come in and Drill Sergeant Nat is going to be like, here, kill yourself in the gym. Here's all these terrible, insane, crazy, painful workouts. Like, I think this is something that so many of us grew up with, going to the gym or a personal trainer, or these things that were like somebody shouting at you and, all of this pressure. So I tend to get some of that coming in, but I think maybe we've started to dispel those myths because I'm not seeing as much fear this time around. And that's what Siv shares. She says, however, I think I may be doing better physically and mentally. I'm going in with the thought that I'll do what I can. I'll listen to my body and my needs. I'm not lowering expectations of myself, but adjusting them. Ugh. What a beautiful statement. What a beautiful statement. Adjusting expectations. That's going to come up again. I'm thinking more about what improvements or habits can I implement? That's what I'm talking about, ladies. It's like y'all are my tribe or something. All right, let me get out of there because y'all killed it. Y'all killed it with those answers. It's so beautiful. Okay, so let's dive into the content tonight. First things first, why are we attracted to challenges? Essentially, what we're talking about is short-term programs or a formal thing you can sign up for and say you're doing. Even if it is a plank challenge or a squat challenge, it's like to call it a challenge, to say, I'm doing this challenge, right? What is it that attracts us to these things? And I made notes in multiple places, so I'm going to pull it up on my phone here. Okay. There are 4 things I want to mention here about why challenges are so attractive to us. So many of you in my community, you're always working on your health and fitness, which is congrats, by the way, because that's what I'm always trying to get across is it's not waiting for the time to start, right? There's so many women who are just giving themselves excuses and not getting started, but you can do anytime you're doing anything for your health and fitness. You're making a small choice each day. You are working on your health and fitness. You're improving it. You're doing that hopefully for the rest of your life. Hopefully we never just stop caring about our health and fitness and stop putting effort in, right? But the challenge itself, what is it that's so attractive when we see the marketing, right? This challenge, ooh, I want to do that, right? Number one, novelty. It's exciting. It's new. It's like this concept, this idea, I might learn something. The novelty of it, right? Limited time. Okay, all the marketing terms. And it's truly, you could sit here and be like, oh, that's all marketing BS, right? But it's really not BS. It's somebody in my academy mentioned recently, I love that you do these short-term programs because we might be in the academy just plugging along and kind of getting lax and kind of like, okay, I get it. I know what I'm supposed to do, but maybe we're not always doing it, right? And then when we do these short-term programs, whether it's sometimes 6 weeks or 8 weeks or 3 months, like 12 weeks, it's this time where you can connect to something. It's an exciting, it's buzz. There's this buzz, there's this energy, right? Of course, in the academy, we have new people coming in. So there's always that kind of excitement and more new people to get together and get to know each other. But there's something that you're doing that's like a little bit different than the norm, right? So it makes it novel. Number 2, there's usually some sort of incentive to these challenges. Not all of them. If you're picking a squat challenge and you're going to do X number of squats a day, there may not be like a prize you could win at the end of it. But a lot of the time, we offer prizes. We do weekly prizes. We do grand prizes. You might join transformation challenges that have big price tags on them. But there's usually some sort of incentive to it, right? There's something you can get out of it. And even if it's a intangible incentive, the incentive is usually the challenge that Deb mentioned, just the concept of it being a challenge that you can overcome. Can I do this plank challenge? And can I reach these milestones on the days that it says, according to this sheet of paper, whatever it is? It's this sense of accomplishment, right? So there's an incentive of some sort, whether it's an intrinsic or an extrinsic incentive. There's a carrot at the end of the stick. Number 3, there's usually some sort of community, right? While you can just say, hey, I found this template online and I'm going to do this challenge. Usually, a lot of the time, you might say, hey guys, I'm going to do this challenge. Would you want to do it with me? Right? Years before I ever had credentials as a coach, I used to run Whole30 challenges once a year, once or twice a year with just my friends, because I would want to take the Whole30. The Whole30 truly is a challenge in and of itself. I would want to go commit to a Whole30, and I would post it online and say, hey guys, on my Facebook, my personal Facebook page, I'm going to do a Whole30 this month. Anybody want to do it with me? And then we'd create this little Facebook group and we'd all be doing it together. So there's this concept of support, encouragement, camaraderie, a sense of belonging, a sense of not being alone, but being a part of something and having people who are on this journey with you. Don't discount that piece of it. This is why Bronson loves CrossFit, right? That was such a big part of CrossFit for him and for so many people, is the community aspect. Same thing with like Jenny, who mentioned in the, who commented in the Facebook group. She loves to do obstacle course races. And she's a CrossFitter as well. That community aspect, that being a part of something, it is a major motivator, a major driver for people. And then finally, there's the short-term aspect of it. There's this timeline, there's this deadline. Our goals can start to become these fuzzy concepts that are too far away to really motivate us on a day-to-day basis. But when we put a deadline in front of us, it lights that fire under our butt. Now we are thinking about it on a more consistent basis. And that is the underpinning that I'm going to get to in a little bit. But to follow up this masterclass, for those of you who were not around when we started the prep program in March, I did a similar masterclass for that one called the prep mindset or the prep mentality, one or the other. I think it was the prep mindset. Going into that prep program, that will be a great next masterclass for you. And even if you did watch that one, it would be a great refresher to go back to that one after this one, because we're going to talk more about kind of, on that one, I talked about flipping the switch like an athlete who's going into a competition prep. You know, how we have to think about turning on that discipline, turning on a different level of consistency and accountability with ourselves. So we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But that's really the piece there, is that, yeah, you could look at it like, oh, it's all marketing, but there's truth behind it, right? There's psychology to this stuff. The reason why we get attracted to certain things that are marketed to us, because there's power in that. So the pros of being a part of challenges, essentially what they're doing is they're putting our goals in front of our face more consistently. It's this external means that reminds us. It's that reminder of what we set out to do, that intention that we set. And when we don't have something with a deadline, when we don't have a community to connect to, when we don't have incentives, when we don't have novelty, it wears off and we can kind of forget our goals. They kind of go by the wayside. They kind of go to the back burner. So challenges can be wonderful, fantastic, positive, helpful things. The only time they become a negative is the way we can think about them that can cause them to become a negative for us. And I've actually, this was a question that somebody asked me for the last program, and she decided not to join us that time. This time she did. So she will be with us, and I'm thrilled that she took that leap. But one of her challenges was, I don't want to become obsessive about tracking my food, and I don't want that to lead to a poor relationship with food, right? This is where the thing, the challenge, the trigger, for some people it's the scale, for some people it's certain foods, for some people it's tracking macros. It can trigger you emotionally. So when we assign value to the thing, rather than assigning the value to us, that's when we're putting the power and the magic in the thing versus ourselves. And that's where we get into trouble. So the first old challenge mentality that I want you to leave behind is thinking that the challenge will make you motivated, disciplined, consistent, accountable, insert whatever else you think the challenge will make you do or make you be. This is what I always go back to whenever we talk about mindset. Nothing outside of you can make you do or be anything. The secret is that you had the power all along. It's like those movies, right? The power was within you the whole time, right? With or without the challenge, with or without the thing that you think is the answer, you have that power. And the challenge can't give that to you if you're not willing to give it to yourself, to tap into that power that you have inside. So if you give the credit where the credit is due to yourself and take responsibility for your action or your inaction, you can use the challenge as a tool to help yourself move forward. But you are doing it. The challenge isn't doing it. It's just providing a stimulus. It's just providing a platform, if you will, or a structure. You are the one that's doing it. Every day that you do it, I want you to pat yourself on the back. Whatever the thing is, whatever you're trying to overcome, give yourself credit every single time. As much as I love when my ladies say, Coach Nat makes your clothes fall off, I give you the tools. You make your own clothes fall off. So if you go into a challenge thinking that signing up or making the financial investment or simply having access to the coach, to the community, to the check-ins, to the information will magically flip some switch and create the results you want, or that you will magically become motivated, disciplined, and action-oriented because you're in a challenge, you will be let down. It's not going to make you all of a sudden more motivated, more disciplined, unless you choose to go into it that way, unless you choose to be more motivated, unless you choose to be more disciplined, to become an action taker. And that's your choice. You get to create that identity for yourself. So that's where I will direct you to the Prep Mindset Masterclass, which will help with putting yourself into that identity. I also recently did I brought back a very old masterclass from before I was doing masterclasses on identity shaping. It was an exercise we did inside the very first summer in 2020. So you'll see little Nat before I had the shave and before I had so many muscles. And that one, I put that back out. I think it was in May when we were when we were on the cruise at the end of May. So it was just a few master classes ago. So you can find that one. But those two right there, the identity shaping and then the prep mindset, will be really powerful in kind of the steps to flipping that switch for yourself. But let's get into the bigger one. The other number 2 old challenge mentality that I want you to leave behind, because this is the one. This is the one I have been trying to strip away from you ladies for years now. I'm on this mission to end the all or nothing mentality. And there is an old masterclass maybe a year or 2 ago on the all or nothing mentality. You can find that one on my YouTube or in the Facebook group in the guides section. So this is the number 1 killer. This is the thing that creates that failure or that quitting after a few weeks in. Going in with this all or nothing mentality, balls to the walls, go hard, go home. Oh, it's this short-term thing. I can do anything for 4 weeks. I can do anything for 30 days. I can do anything for XXX number of days, weeks, months. This is the question I have for you on that. How has that worked out for you in the past? Because I suspect it never actually worked. You thought it worked because maybe you did it for a week or a month or a few months. And maybe you got results in the short term. Maybe you got insane, crazy, amazing results in the short term. But I can promise you this, if the result was short-lived and the results initially attained, if at all, were not sustained, then it did not work. If it doesn't work for you long-term, it doesn't work, period. So that mentality of I'm going to go in and do whatever I need to do, I don't care how much it kills me. I'm going to go into this challenge and I'm going to do everything Coach Nat says at exactly the day and the time and the way that she says to do it 100% for these 8 weeks because I want to lose 100 pounds in 8 weeks. Okay, hopefully nobody's saying that, but you get my drift. And then all I want to do is get to the goal and then I'll worry about what happens after that. I can promise you it ain't going to be pretty after you get to the goal if that's all you're thinking about. So that is the mentality we want to put to rest. Ladies, we have got to stop saying XYZ worked for me until it didn't. Because whatever it was, didn't work for you. You worked for it until you didn't. Ooh, let me say that again. When you can think of any protocol, anything that you tried, and you say it worked for me until it didn't, meaning it eventually stopped working. It's not that it didn't work for you. It's that you worked for it until you didn't, meaning you followed it until you didn't. Because if you keep following it and it was getting results, it wasn't it getting results. You were the one getting the results and you're putting your power in that other thing. And maybe there's a caveat there because I know a lot of my ladies come to me from high fat, keto, and carnivore and low protein and not working out. There are absolutely going to be things like dietary protocols that work for you until they stop working because they were not good, solid protocols for life that are going to set you up for success for life. So I digress. I will say there is a caveat there. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the question is, can you sustain it? And that's what we want to get to is any new, exciting, sexy challenge, program, or product, by the way, supplements, magic pills, right, that promise you results, they will not work for you. You will either do the work or you won't. And the results you get from the work you did with or without that program, product, thing, those results will not stick around if you don't continue to do the work that you did to get the results. So now the cool thing there, when it comes to body recomposition, gaining muscle, losing body fat, is that when you get to the other side, meaning you're metabolically healthy, you're metabolically flexible, your metabolism is running well, you're healthy, you don't have chronic conditions that you're battling to get to a level of health, you are fit, you have more muscle on your body, you have less body fat, you have shifted, you are now on the other side. You will not have to do the same level of effort or maybe as much time or as much intensity as you had to originally get the results, because now you've set yourself up to be in a better position so that it's a lot less work to maintain it. But I can guarantee you, even then, if you just let all those habits you learned go because you got there and then you stop doing the habits that got you there altogether, you will not keep those results. They will be short-lived. So here's where we go back to the mentality we want to let go of, that all-in mentality. Here's a newsflash. All-in effort cannot be sustained by anyone ever, period. Even professional athletes don't go hard all the time. They reserve that peak performance. Hey, my girl Lana's on the chat. I know that's going to resonate for you, mama. They reserve peak performance for game time. Professional athletes go hard for game time. They don't even go hard all the time when they're on season. Just on game days, just during game play. They're not going hard in the locker room, in the warm-up, in the preseason, in the post-game session. They are going hard all in on the field during game play. That is it. They have different levels of intensity in the off season, in the preseason. When they are not on the floor, they are resting and recovering and eating well and all of those things. So this concept of this going hard all the time and doing all the things all the time and checking every box, it's not what is going to get you where you want to go. What you do to get results, you must continue to do to keep results. So if you can't keep doing the actions you took to get there, what makes you think you're going to stay there? This is where the expectations come in that so many of the ladies mentioned. The biggest problem, the thing that causes us to burn out, is setting these high expectations for ourselves that are completely unrealistic. Here's what's happening in the background of your mind when you're thinking about wanting to go all in for a challenge. What that's really saying is, when you read between the lines of your mind, which we need to start practicing more and more often, ladies, finish the sentence. When your mind starts going, these are emotional thoughts, make it finish the sentence. Because when your mind says it's only such and such days, weeks, months, it's only this amount of time, I can do anything for that amount of time. What's the rest of that sentence? After that, it'll be over and I can ... There's something else there. So don't let these thoughts go by unchecked. Hold that little self-saboteur accountable. It's already planning your big binge after the end of the challenge. Don't let it do that. When your mind goes, it's only such and such, ask it. Okay, and then what? Huh? Answer me. What then? What are we going to do afterwards? Here we are, day 1 of the challenge. I want all of you to be thinking about after the challenge, September 1st. We're doing ours today, July 1st through August 31st. I want you to be thinking about September 1st. What then? Because that date matters more than this one. The day after the last day of the challenge matters more than day 1 of the challenge. All right. So who's ready to let go of the old challenge mentality and try something new this time? Let's go. Here's how I want you to think about entering any challenge going forward, whether it's a formal one or an informal one, with a group or by yourself. It could just be a period of time that you set aside to work on a particular focus or intention. I'm going to give you the 4 I's, because remember, I have the power. You have the power, okay? Not the other thing. So the 4 I's. I want you to go in inquisitive. Number one, inquisitive. Ask questions. Ask questions about yourself, the process, the experience. Get curious. As you're going through the challenge, be prepared to learn, to understand the concepts that are being taught, learn about yourself, learn about the experience, learn from the experience, and that leads right into the next one. That starts by asking questions, so be inquisitive. Seek to learn and not just to do. I love what Bubbles has to share here. Karen, I learned so much sustainable knowledge during the build. And y'all, Karen has been able to support herself as she's continued to stay active in the Facebook group. She hasn't done another challenge with us, and she hasn't needed to. She took on the power for herself when she joined the build, and she did exactly what we're talking about here. She asked questions to understand. She learned, and now she's able to take that knowledge with her. That's what it's all about, y'all. We would love to keep all of you forever, of course. We always have another program for you. It's always sad when somebody flies the coop, but we wish you all well. Big shout out, by the way, if they're watching this later, to Aaron and Tona, who had been with us since the build, I believe, both. So they've been with us for maybe 9 months, 10 months, and they both just graduated. Truly graduates, just as Karen is, of the Academy, because they really have done this. So y'all, you can stay with us as little or as long as you need, but we want you to fly on your own. That's the whole goal. All right. Number 2, introspective. So you're inquisitive, you're asking questions. Now you can take it internally and say, and reflect on those questions. Reflect on and process your thoughts and your emotions. Journal through the experience. Capture key insights and takeaways along the way. Discover yourself through the process. That's really the point of a challenge, right? It's challenging you. So lean into that, explore that. This is where all of the aha moments come that could change your life. We ask this question in our check-ins every week. What are your insights for the week after you've observed your body, you've observed the biofeedback we ask you to consider? Just going through the habits of the week and your wins and your acknowledgements and all the other things we've asked you to share in your weekly check-in. Share any aha moments you're having. And there's always so many fascinating new ones. This is the stuff that makes it your own. So be inquisitive, be introspective, come in intentional. And y'all, that was what we talked about at the beginning, the power of challenges. Why challenges are so attractive is because you have this goal that maybe you haven't been very intentional about on a more regular, consistent day-to-day basis. And so you're like, okay, now is a time where I can get laser beam focused. That means I'm not forgetting my intentions every day because I'm going into this challenge intentional. I am not just going to check boxes. It's not going to be about showing Coach Nat what I did every day or see, I did this, see, I did that. It's what can I get out of this? I'm going to be intentional with my time, with my energy, where I spend my time, what I'm focusing on right now. You're not running everywhere trying to get every task checked off just for the sake of getting recognition or being able to say you did it. I'd rather you focus on one important thing for you. Karen, if I remember correctly, I think it was the first month of the challenge, all you worried about and focused on was learning how to track your macros accurately. She dove in. She asked all the questions. She wanted to make sure she understood what she was doing and that she was doing it correctly. It's like focus on the big rock in front of you right now, because If you can't get one thing right and then you're trying to do 10 things, you're going to feel like a failure, and that's going to lead to burnout. So for all of you diving into the challenge with us, you're going to get all kinds of stuff thrown at you. I want you to take what's for you and leave the rest. And don't worry about what we're going to think about what you're doing, because we're not thinking about what you're doing. I promise you. I promise you. All we want you to do is show up and be where you are. When we say show up, we mean just don't hide from us. Don't run. Don't quit. Fill out your check-in form. Let us know you're here and what you're working on. That's the most important thing to you. It's what can you get out of it. So be intentional. Don't check the boxes. And then number 4, this is the big one. This is the big let go of the all or nothing. Incremental. Don't, like I was just saying, don't try to bite it all off at once. This time in this challenge, which normally we do, and I think it was the prep, sorry, y'all, we kind of threw you in there fast with the training program. But this time, the training program is not starting for a whole week. So our whole first week, you can learn and digest and focus on your not your macros, because you don't have your macros yet, but you can focus on tracking your food and baselining everything before you also have a program to learn. But when you do get your training program, it's not about doing all the workouts on all the days that they're scheduled and doing every single exercise and every single rep and every single set, and also being perfect with your macros, which I just want to get rid of that word entirely, but trying to be 100% on all things. Focus on the small incremental steps forward for you, the biggest things that are going to move the needle for you. I always like to say, if you are a binge eater, overeater, emotional eater, and you are having these binge episodes multiple times a week or even daily, the only thing that matters for you right now is to stop that habit. So I don't care if you hit your macros or not. I would rather you blow all your macros out of the water because you ate extra real food, because you were not, no matter what, non-negotiable, you were not going to go and binge on junk. That's the only thing that matters in your journey next. So wherever you are, pick that one thing that matters most to you next and focus on that. And then celebrate the hell out of yourself for every small win along the way, because that's the thing that gets you internally excited and makes you feel proud instead of shameful and like a failure, we always hear. And then that's where you end up hiding and then quitting. So small incremental changes, the little things are what really move the needle. Like we said, slow is a pace. So don't go in expecting that you are going to be hitting all the things all the time. That's not even how we select our winners, y'all. Usually on the weekly prizes and all of our challenges where we have weekly prizes, it is some post or some share on a Zoom call or something that just hits us in our heartstrings, or some aha moment you share in a check-in. Most of the time, it's not about, did she do X, Y, Z? I'm only going to pick people to win who did everything and check the boxes. We don't do that around here. It's not about box checking. I love it. Look at this. She says, indeed, and still tracking. And that was the one thing I said I wouldn't do. It has so much valuable information. I love it, y'all. And there's a beautiful thing right there. There's a beautiful little seed to plant right there. The results you're looking for are likely in the thing that you are avoiding doing, whatever that may be for you. For Karen, it was tracking macros. And now, does it with her eyes closed. So that thing that you're avoiding doing, you have some fear around it for some reason, explore that. Use the 4 eyes. Be inquisitive, introspective, intentional, and incremental. that thing you're afraid of probably feels like this big thing that's so daunting. But if you chunk it down into the little incremental steps you can take, that one little first step doesn't have to feel so daunting. And then once you do it, celebrate the hell out of it. Feel good about yourself. Feel good about yourself, and then you move on to that next step. Okay? So, the summary here, we are letting go of thinking that the challenge will make you motivated, disciplined, consistent, and all the things. It won't. You have to make that decision for yourself. And going all in and trying to be perfect, that's how you're going to burn out. So instead, take on the 4 I's, be inquisitive, introspective, intentional, and incremental. And you will have more success than you've ever experienced in your life, whether it's with us or any challenge you undertake. And for those of you out there on YouTube and in our Facebook group who are not a part of the summer shape up challenge, like what am I calling this one? Officially, we always put this out there to you to come with us, do it alongside us, pick your challenge while we're going through our challenge. So for the month of July and August, 2 months out of the last 6 months of the year, what do you want to focus on? Set your intention. Share it in the Facebook group. We will be there to support you and celebrate you along the way. Practice the 4 I's throughout your personal challenge. Set your parameters, set your timeline, create all of those things for yourself, and then share with us. We'll be the community that you're looking for in the Facebook group or here in the comments on YouTube. So you can still participate without participating all the way if you want to. I love this, Kim. I meant to mention this tonight, so I'm glad you said this. She says, we get to show up for each other in September. Looking forward to our new stage in Florida. So this is alluding once again to the masterclass I did for the prep mindset. And we talked about setting your stage. What is going to be your carrot, your incentive at the end of the challenge, right? And I asked you all to be thinking about September. What are you doing after the challenge, right? Well, we are doing something in September. The first ever KBB retreat will be taking place in Florida. We're looking at the Gulf Coast. So Fort Myers, Bonita Springs, Naples area, somewhere over there. We have not selected the venue yet. It will be September 12th through the 15th, Thursday to Sunday. The chunk of it will be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, September 13th, 14th, and 15th. And I'm working on getting the information up on my website as we speak. It will be up by the end of this week. I promised the ladies in the academy by the end of the weekend. But we have this little thing called the challenge launching. Silly me. So all the details about the retreat will be posted by the end of this week. I'm working on getting that landing page up and taking deposits to hold your spot. So stay tuned for that. It is going to be a blast. I'm so excited to do this. It's been a long time coming. So lots more to come on that as soon as I have the information available for you all. Stay tuned. And in the meantime, as always, post in the group, ask your questions about whatever. And you will probably spark a future masterclass. There was a really interesting question the other day that threw me for a loop, wondering where it came from. So I started going back and forth. And that just opened up a whole masterclass I never would have thought of doing before. That's a little more sciencey than I ever get, a lot more sciencey than I ever get about protein metabolism. So that's something you can look forward to coming up. Also, we'll be talking about what intuitive training is and how we use that in the academy and how you can use that for yourself. So that's another masterclass coming up this month. And you will probably inspire the next one. So keep sharing, keep connecting with us. We love y'all. Go crush it. Whatever your goals are, do something to put them in your face. And remember, you have the power, nothing else. Love y'all. That's it for tonight. Have a wonderful rest of your week and first week of July, and happy 4th of July. Go celebrate your freedom, your independence, because that's what we're all working towards. Stay free and independent later in our lives, because we took care of ourselves now. All right, Karen, go enjoy your beach. I wish I was there laying on the beach with you. Good night, y'all. Peace out.